Hello guys, welcome to i-tutor Academy. In today's session, we will start with the subsection of Unit 14. So last unit of this course, MMPC 002. And next video onwards, we will start the MMPC 003. And it's an Employees Association. It's a subsection of Unit 14. Employees organization, that is EOS, are formal group of employees set up to defend, represent or advise affiliated employees and to strengthen their position in society at large with respect to labor matters as distinct from economic matters. They may conclude collective agreement, but this is not a formal rule and cannot be an element of their definition. Unlike trade union, which are composed of individual person, employers organization are composed of enterprises. Most legal definition of a trade union apply to them. The Trade Union Act 1926 includes in its purview both associations of workers as well as employers. EOS are mainly concerned with matters relating to a wide range of employment issue, including industrial relations. Chambers of commerce are usually set up to defend the economic interest of employees. However, in some countries such as the UK, Norway, and Jordan, for instance, the same organization deals with both. In India, as we shall discuss later, the former are set up by the latter, and also sectoral associations such as Confederation of India Industry, that is till 1991, it was a sectoral association mainly confined to engineering industry, and United Planters Association of South Indian perform a combined role of defending the interest of employees in both economic and labor matters. Employees Association came into existence as a result of formation of ILO and the growing presence of trade unions, especially after the First World War. The Royal Commission on Labour 1929 recommended that the Indian employers need and some other factors which influence the formation of union of managers, senior executive and other officers are nationalization and rationalization of pay and prerequisite and anomalies in pay arising from the recommendation of pay commission and wage board and their implementation. And objectives of EOS, the main objective of EOS are similar though they may vary to an extent in matter of details. For organization to deal with labor problems from the employee's point of view, as right pointed out by Mr. Naval Tata, employees organization are required develop healthy and stable industrial relation, promote collective bargaining at different levels, bring a unified employees' viewpoint on the issues of industrial relations to the government in a concrete manner, and represent in the meeting of ILC and SLC board in conformity with the tripartite approach to labor matter. Employees association are formed to promote and protect interest of employers in trade and industry. They are formal group of employees set up to defend, represent, or advise affiliated employers. They perform several important functions. Primarily objectives: promote and protect the interest of employers engaged in industry, trade, and commerce in India. Study, analyze, and disseminate information relating to labor policy, labor management relations, collective bargaining, etc. Offer advice concerning various aspects of labor policy, liaise with the union government, and initiate steps that are representative and legislative in nature. And second objectives are train and develop staff and members, obtain data on wages and conditions of work in industries attached to them, and come out with a surveys, research based report on issue of importance to both labor and management, take up project for social and family welfare, and deal with safety and health at workplace and working environment, initiate the step to improve public image and improve public relation, and educate the public regard in character, scope, importance, and need of trade, industry, and commerce represented by members. Structure of EOS: at present, EOS are organized at three levels: Local organizations, they serve the interest of local businessmen, and the Bombay Mill Owners Association, for example, has been formed to protect the local interest of manufacturing unit operating within the city. Such a bodies operate through the local chamber of commerce and regional organization. The regional outfits such as Employees Federation to South India and Employees Association Calcutta are affiliated to Central Employees Organization. They offer consultancy service, take care of training, safety and welfare measures on behalf of their members. They even have special committees for specific region or industry related problems. Central organizations AIDE, EFI, IIMO operate as apex bodies governing the affairs of several regional local associations. To have better coordination, a superstructure called the Council of Inter Employees was formed in 1956, bring AIDE and EFI under one umbrella. And different EOs in India. One is AIOE, the All India Organization of Employers, is a unitary type of organization set up in 1953. And the EFI is there. The Employers Federation of India has federal structure formed in 1933. And IOE, International Organization of Employers, represents the interest of employers in all social and labor matters at the international level. And SCOP, the objective of the Standing Conference of Public Enterprises, cover a wider ambit. SCOP looks upon its task as both internal and external to the public sector. Internally, it would enter to assist the public sector in such a way as would help improve its total performance. Externally, it would help improve its total boundary role in conveying such a information and assist the public sector in such a way as would help improve its total performance and advice to the community and the government as would generally help the public sector in its role. And CIE. The main object in setting up the Council of Indian Employers was to ensure a closer cooperation and coordination between the two bodies, which together represent particular the interest of large scale industry in India. In the year 1973, the SCOP joined the CIE. The CIE, with its headquarters in the office of the AIOE in Delhi, consists of equal number of representative of the AIOE and EFI and SCOP. The same point was emphasized differently in the list of objective. To mention a few, to take all steps which may be necessary to promoting, supporting or opposing legislative and other measures affecting or likely to affect directly or indirectly industry, trade and commerce in general or particular interest. To take all possible steps for counter-reacting activities inimical to industry, trade and commerce of the country. To promote and protect the interest of employers engaged in industry, trade and commerce in India. And the principal objectives relating to the industry relations aspect include to encourage the formation of EOS and to foster a cooperation between EOS in India and abroad, and to nominate delegate and advisors, etc., representing Indian employees at the International Labour Conference, International Chamber of Commerce, and other conference and committees affecting the interest of trade, commerce, and industry, whether as employers or otherwise. To promote and support all well considered schemes for the general uplift of the labor and to take all steps to establish a harmonious relation between capital and labor. Amalgamation of EOS. During the pre-independence era industry, trade and employer association were divided on the basis of Swadeshi versus foreign, large versus small, and to an extent on regional basis. After independence, the indigenous private industry began to train their gun against public sector which had witnessed rapid growth. The small and medium sector have formed their own associations. There is also a plethora of sectoral association with the proliferation of EO. The need for their unification began to find expressions. And after several initiative and meeting, it was in 1956 that superstructure called the Council of Indian Employers was formed to bring the AIOE and EFI, the two national level EOS, together under one umbrella. Statutory protection of EOS in India. EOS could be registered in any of the following legal forms: the Trade Union Act 1926, the Indian Companies Act 1956, the Societies Act 1860, and the AIOE remained a registered body till 1969 when it was registered under the Indian Trade Union Act. The EFI came into begin in March 1933 as a company under the Indian Union Act. A quarter century later, it was reorganized as an unregistered association, a position which continued till 1963 when it too was registered under the Indian Trade Union Act. The main reason for the AIOE opting for registration under the Trade Unions Act was to allow it to take up test cases before the courts and industrial tribunals. The scope, however, continues to be registered under the Societies Act. The Constitution grant the right to organize, and so nobody, including manager and officer, can be prevented from forming or joining any organization if he so desired. The Trade Union Act 1926 and the Societies Registration Act 1860, which provide the only legal framework for the managerial and officers union, permit the registration of unions and associations formed by any seven workers or persons. Apart from the limited protection afforded by the two enactment as mentioned above, managerial and administrative employees and other offices have no other statutory protection or benefit except what is provided by the civil and common law. They have neither the job security nor the arrangements for quick recovery of their dues, which the workmen or the blue collar workers have as provided by the Industrial Dispute Act 1947 and Payment of Wage Act 1936. And most of the Indian organizations have some sort of grievance handling procedure to take care of the grievance of the workmen, but no such a procedure exists for executive or officers. It is not the government has never thought about the situation of the managerial employees. On August 30, 1978, the Janata government introduced the Lok Sabha bill. The bill number is 143 of 1978, called the Employment Security and Miscellaneous Provision, that is Managerial Employees Bill, to provide the security of employment to person not covered by the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. If this bill had been enacted, it would have enabled a managerial employee to approach Employment Security Tribunal for. First one is setting aside termination of his employment or a notice of such a termination issued by his employer. And the second is reliefs if the employer affected reduction in rank, salary or allowance, and recovery of amount due to him from the employer. And on behalf of the three organizations, the CIE also submitted representation to the Government of India on matters involving important issue of labor policy on which a common approach is desired. And organization and management of EOS in India. Membership is, as in most countries in India, too, membership in EOS is voluntary. AIOE has two categories of members, that is individual, that is enterprises, and association group of enterprises. EFI additionally has provision for honorary membership whereby individual with a special skill or experience such as legal luminaries or professional share and co-opted and to serve on various committees of the federation. While the predominantly private sector EOS do not bar public sector enterprises becoming members and rather welcome their entry and indeed have a few, the scope remain and EO exclusively for the public sector, that too mainly the private public sector enterprises in the central sphere, and 648 EOS were registered in 1986 under the Trade Union Act. Of these, however, only 98 submitted returns, and several more were registered under the Companies Act and the Societies Act, whose number is not known. And in 1986, the AIOE and EFI had 59 and 31 association member respectively. Even the strength of individual member was low at 130 and 247 respectively. Organization structure. The AIOE has unitary type of organization. It has no sub-organization on an industrial or geographical basis, even though there are important clusters of members in Calcutta and Bombay. There has been no attempt to create local committees or offices. The governing body is the supreme policy making body. The executive committee is responsible for implementing the policies and objectives of the organization, and the secretariat with a permanent staff is responsible for carrying out the decision of the bargaining. In India, the role is voluntary and at the initiative and request of the members. Training and development of staff and members, safety and health at workplace and working environment, and public image and public relation. The above list is indicated and not exhaustive. A survey of members of EOS in India, that is Venkataragnam 1989, noted that over 70% of the respondent members of EOS and believe that EOS are active in disseminating information to members and making representation whenever an issue or problem arises. Henceforth, need to be proactive, are not going as well as they should be going in their advisory role and in providing a guidance on issue relating to collective bargaining, etc. Should pay more attention and study problem of concern to employers, improving their interaction with the members and unions and government, concentrating on training workers and members, and strengthening advisory services and taking a project for social and family welfare, and need not participate as before directly in enterprises level negotiations or settlement of industrial dispute at a fame level. Relations in the course of exercise of their function, EOS interact with the three principal actors, that is employers who are their members, government unions, and traditionally employers are individualistic in nature and competitive concentration affect their ability to confederate as a cohesive entity. Employers want individual discretion than take a collective unified stand for good policy. And EOS also interact with political parties, professional organization, and the community. Relation with the political parties assume significance even if EOS choose to remain only in the political, and the presence of professional organization make it imperative to see whether these organization of managers are similar or dissimilar to those of employers. In today's context of large modern corporation, the employers depends on professional managers had increased. Likewise, the professional and professional bodies do draw their substances to an extent from employees. The EOS also need to maintain relations with the community. Future challenges of EOS: the employees are not only individualistic but also not a homogeneous class, and finances are there. EOS are referred to as rich man's poor club. The EFI's balance sheet for 1985-86 show an income of Rs 14 lakh and that of AIOE Rs 5 lakh approximately. Nearly half of the income of the EFI and one fourth of the income of AIOE are from membership subscription. And the representation, EOS in India play two type of role in representing the interest of their members. One, they are called nominate representative of employees in voluntary or statutory bodies set up not only to determine wages and conditions of employment of workers in a particular industry or sector, but also for consultation and cooperation on social and labor matters in national and global context. Secondly, they seek to redress the grievance arising from legislative or other measures by making submission to concerned authority. And services, the real worth of an EO and the best justification for its support is the range of services that it provides to its members. Within the overall framework of the need to develop enlightened human resource management practice, the kind and range of services that an EO could provide should rest mainly on the needs of the members and their priorities, as also the resource and competence within the leadership and secretariat of the EO. And they should learn to be proactive than reactive. Okay, the distinction between the reactive and proactive approach may be described as the difference between settling dispute and taking preventive care, between raising demand and removing grievances, seeking amendments to the law and influences the law in advance, controlling wages and providing incentives, enforcing discipline and promoting good relations. Evaluation of EOS. EOS have remained disparate group, passing resolution, airing grievances from various platforms. EOS relations with the government have remained individualistic in nature. And there is last the summary of this unit. In this unit, we have covered trade unionism and employers association, formative stages, and the reason for formation of the both have been discussed. So also different forms of trade unionism like classical, neoclassical, and revolutionary have been touched upon. The objectives, functions of both the trade unions and EOS are covered. Theories of trade unionism and growth and position of trade unionism in India have also been discussed. And there is self-assessment questions also there. The first one is narrate the growth of trade unions in India and write a note on the theories of trade unionism. Describe the classification of trade unions, citing examples, and discuss the measures required to strengthen trade union movement in India, and write down the difference between blue collar and white collar workers. So there is one box are there, so you just go through that and discuss the growth of employees association. And next is why managerial association is required, that is discuss. And what are the EOS exist in India, and write down their objectives and functions. Describe the management and organization of EOS in India. So these are the questions. You just try for your self-assessment and answer these questions. If you have any doubt, you just contact our contact number, or you can comment it on our comment box also. Thank you so much.